Well, as our helpful passer-outers are passing out our supplies this morning, let us read the Easter story. This is from the Gospel according to Mark, chapter 16, verses 1 through 11. Hear now the word of the Lord. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome bought spices so that they might go to anoint Jesus' body. Very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise, they were on their way to the tomb, and they asked each other, "Who will roll the stone away from the entrance of the tomb?" But when they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had been rolled away already. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. "Don't be alarmed," he said. "You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. He's not here. See the place where they laid him? But go, tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you." Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. When Jesus rose early on the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had driven 7 demons. She went and told those who had been with him and who were mourning and weeping. When they heard that Jesus was alive and that she had seen him, they did not believe it. May God bless the reading of this holy word today. It's always interesting to notice and to think about the emotions that people were feeling on that first Easter Sunday. Like when it started, the 2 Marys and Salome here, they are heading to Jesus' grave, and they would have been feeling sadness, grief, loss, uncertainty, fear, since their teacher, their leader, their friend had been wrongly arrested and executed. So then they get to the tomb, the stone is rolled away, weird, and there's a guy in a white robe sitting inside it. Very weird. The guy says what most angels in the Bible say whenever they show up: "Don't be afraid, don't be alarmed." And he told them that Jesus had risen. However, they were still trembling and bewildered and afraid. Now, we who know the whole story might say, "Well, why are you afraid now? All the bad stuff is over. There's nothing to be scared of anymore. It's all good, man. Don't worry, be happy." That's what we would say. But you can't just tell someone to feel something different and expect it to happen. I've tried it with my wife many times, doesn't work. My father-in-law told me a story a few years ago that one time his wife, my mother-in-law, got really mad at him for something that he had done in the dream she had the night before. She was so mad the next day. And he told her, "I didn't even do anything. Don't be mad at me." And it didn't work. She didn't talk to him for 2 days. Feelings are like that. You can't just tell someone, "Don't feel that." So even though the angel told the women straight up, "Don't be afraid," they were still afraid. In Matthew's gospel, it also mentions that they were afraid yet filled with joy too, which is very interesting, to feel both joy and fear at the same time. 2 emotions that sound like opposites, and yet they're both still in there. Has that ever happened to you? To have such big feelings inside you. And when it happens, it's kind of weird. Like, this is wonderful, but I'm still nervous. I'm excited, but kind of worried too. Why can't I just feel one thing at a time? We might be also tempted to tell the women in this story, don't be afraid, just be joyful. But whenever we feel like saying that to other people or saying it to ourselves, it's because we just don't like unhappiness. We don't like to feel worried. It makes us uncomfortable just seeing other people hurting or sad or worried. So we want them to just, don't worry, be happy instead. Just be happy, like everything is fine and there are no weird things to worry about. So just keep pretending and be happy instead. But our emotions aren't that simple. So on the first Easter, they were still afraid. Filled with joy, sure, that their Lord might be alive somehow, but they're still afraid too. Is it true? How did it happen? Was that a real angel? Now what? What does it all mean? What happens next? I don't know. And the same can be true for us. Just like we can feel both joy and fear at the same time, like the women did, we can also be encouraged when suddenly, without warning, we experience the new life of Jesus. Okay, yeah, sure, but what does that look like practically in real life? That moment when we experience, without warning, a little Jesus. Well, it could be lots of ways. It could be a holy moment you find yourself in when you notice that life just got a little more real all of a sudden, not as shallow as it used to be, as it usually is. Maybe it's in the middle of a conversation with a complete stranger or with a good friend, and deep truths come out. You start to feel a little wobbly about how deep they are. Or it could be when you're doing something kind for a person in need, and it might not be a big deal for you, but you realize you have touched their life. In Matthew chapter 25, Jesus said that whenever you give food to someone who's hungry, or welcome someone who's left out, or care for someone who's sick, then he said, you actually did that stuff for me. So, wow. Maybe that's what you might be doing when you find yourself unexpectedly experiencing Jesus in some new, different, heightened life. Who knows? And maybe it's only afterward when you look back and you stop and you realize, wait a second, that was a holy moment I just had. I might have experienced some Jesus back there. And you're a little more joyful and a little less afraid, because you then realize that you're on a little different track now because of it, like a blessed offshoot from your normal, regular routine, like your expected timeline has a variant that leads you out, up into what? Into new life is where it leads you. And that's what I want us to cultivate today. I want us to cultivate offshoots of new life. We'll do it with those seeds you got. They're not for snacking. I hope you haven't eaten them all yet. They are for planting. And I think the tags might also be with the seeds, but you'll see that they are teddy bear sunflowers. Oh, I know, teddy bear sunflowers. We have extra seeds left. If anybody didn't give any seeds, raise a hand right there. I see a hand. Okay. If anybody else needs some, maybe a hand in the back. If we have extras, I would rather give out the extras so that extras can be planted. So if you want or need some extras or to share with a friend who couldn't make it today, then just flag down one of our passer outers. So teddy bear sunflowers are a little smaller and bushier than the tall, round, flat sunflowers we usually see. So these seeds can be planted in smaller places if need be. Sunflowers in general are great for lots of reasons. Yes, their seeds are good as snacks for both humans and animals. Animals like eating the seeds. We use them to make oil for cooking, and they're just really pretty in your garden. If you ever drive out Interstate 26 to Mars Hill and you see when a whole crop of sunflowers has blossomed, there's usually like 8 cars parked on the side of the road just so people can get glamour shots and selfies standing in the sunflower garden. There's also something else I didn't know about sunflowers, that planting them can actually help reduce the radiation in a radioactive area. Isn't that weird? It's true. It's a process called bioremediation, because it's when plants or other organisms naturally remove the pollutants from like air and soil by speeding up chemical reactions of decontamination, which I think is super cool. So they actually used sunflowers at Chernobyl after the nuclear meltdown happened there in Ukraine in the 80s. Sunflowers can even do that. They can help life get cleaner again. And it was only last week that I learned why sunflowers are called sunflowers. It's because they follow the sun across the sky. They will bend to follow its light. That process is called heliotropism. Look at all the vocab words you're learning today. Oh my goodness. You tell your friends, what'd you learn at church today? Science words? A few plants are able to do that so that they can maximize their exposure to getting sunlight. And I can't think of a better illustration for how we should live. We should bend our lives to follow the light of God's Son, Jesus, across the world as it rises and shines and spreads, to maximize the exposure we get to Jesus's love and grace and welcome and sacrifice and inclusion. Although, apparently it's only younger sunflowers that move like that, when they are actively growing and their stems are a little more flexible so that they can follow the sun's path in the sky from east to west. They're still young and bendy, and the extra light helps them grow stronger. But as sunflowers age and their growth slows, they stop tracking the sun. Their stems become a little stiffer, so the flowers just stay only facing east. At least that way, they're already facing the sun every morning when it rises, so they warm up quicker in the morning. And I get that. I mean, as I get older, I'm not as bendy as I used to be either. I don't feel like moving around as much during the day. I'd rather you just angle the couch at the TV, sit me down, and I'm good to go, right? Have a nice night. Thank you very much. So hopefully, as those seeds are planted, as you see some new sunflowers spring up from them, they will inspire you to be a little more flexible as you follow the light of God's sun moving around the world. Don't just pick a position and stick to doing things one way, but let yourself grow and move and be changed. Follow the light of God's sun across the sky around the world. Don't be so old and stiff and stuck in your ways. Let God's sun help you bend a little and follow the light. And as you grow, make the world a cleaner, brighter place. So I want you to take your sunflower seeds, and if you're worshiping from home, feel free to send us a message. We can mail you some, or you can just go buy some at your local, whatever place sells seeds. I don't know, I don't buy seeds, but wherever place sells seeds, you can go buy some. Take them, plant them in the ground or in a flower pot where you can see. But don't just plant the seeds. I want you to plant the paper too. The paper you got feels a little different because it is fully biodegradable and environmentally friendly. So try not to get it wet because then it'll start dissolving before you're ready. But I want you to take that paper and write on it your hopes for new life. Because that's what Easter is about, new life. And your new life can start right now. Every day. When people are baptized here, I say, buried with Christ in death, washed by his grace, and reborn to new life through the Holy Spirit. When you let God forgive you clean with the grace of Christ, you're so freed and different that you're like a whole new person, a new creation. So what kind of new life are you yearning for? What kind of new life are you desperate for? What rejuvenation or resurrection do you need? Write that down like a prayer of hope, and then bury your paper with your seeds and let your new life grow. No one will see what you write down because God's creation will take it and receive it. You will give your prayer into the earth, your prayer of new life. You will bury it like Christ was buried in the earth. God will receive it and bring new life forth. So you're free to do that right now. You can start writing right now. It'd be better if you did it before you left here, because when you leave, you'll put it in your pocket. You might toss it in the back of your car. You'll forget about it. Then you'll get back home. Tomorrow, your week will start. You get into your routine. You don't think about the kind of newness that is possible for you. So you're free to stop listening to me ramble and start writing right now. You can use a pencil from the pew racks. You can reach in front of you or behind you for more pencils. Like I said, in our kids and family corner, we've got some colored pencils back there. At our worship creation station, we've got a bag of crayons and pencils up here. If you want to add some color or some vibrancy, go for it. Make your prayer of hope for new life as beautiful as you want, or as simple and plain and clear as you want. It's yours. Whatever you need to say, whatever you need to pray for, make it yours. And if you want to think about it for a while, that's okay. Take your bulletin home today, take it with you, and use on the back the prayer prompts to guide you as you craft your hopeful prayer for new life, and how you will change and grow into the future. Whatever message of life you need to receive today and live into for the rest of the year, write it down. Then plant it in the ground and let it grow. I want you to plant the sunflower seeds too, even if you're like me and you're not good at growing plants. Doesn't matter. Those seeds come from the earth, so give them back to the earth, whether they grow big for you or not. Here at the church, we will have our church's master gardeners, Bill and Wilma Pinlan, planting a few of those seeds down in our prayer garden right down there. We have a lovely outside courtyard. If you ever need a quiet, shaded space to sit and pray and think or read or sip some coffee while you rejuvenate yourself, they'll plant some of those sunflowers there and maybe even some out front as well. So I look forward to seeing what comes up. Maybe they will grow really full at your house or not. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Just don't give up on the new life that they represent. Don't give up on that new life. That reminds me of a conversation that I had with a friend of mine last week. She serves with me on the board of the Weaverville Library right next door, which is the best little library ever, by the way. Shout out to them. And since I'm the chairman and she's the treasurer, whenever we make financial changes, we have to both go to the bank together. So we met at Truist Bank here on the boulevard, and we were sitting in the account manager's office, and my friend, Carolyn, was admiring the flowers that were there in her office. Since I'm a guy, I hadn't noticed there were any flowers, but whatever. And my friend Carolyn said, "Oh, that's a lovely orchid, but I think I'm going to have to give up on my orchid at home, unfortunately." And then the account manager said, "Oh, don't do that. When they look dead, that's when they're ready to come back." And I thought, that's a good point to remember. When they look dead, that's when they're ready to come back. So then I said, "Can I borrow your notepad and write that down?" Because that's the message of Easter. Whether it is orchids or people, sunflowers or souls, don't give up. Don't give up on them, and definitely don't give up on yourself. There is always potential for new life, always, every day. That is the message of Easter, that new life is always available to you. So reach for it, towards the light of God's Son. Let God's light bend you and grow you so that you can bloom into brand new life too. Let us pray. Oh God, we are amazed that the power of resurrection can happen in us. We are blown away that your love and spirit and holiness can fill us up and change us, take us into new directions, can throw us off track from the boring life we had planned and take us into new areas that we had never dreamed of. We invite you to grab us, yank us off the path that we had chosen into your way, your path that leads to abundant life. May we feel the newness of resurrection today as we feel the light and warmth outside, as we hear the birds singing, as we see and feel the butterflies flying all around. Help us to be energized and ready to shine that light too. Amen.